Hi everybody, Chapter 2 hiking, back again. I'm Roy, it's Johnny. We are at the Old Loggers Path, getting ready to strap on the packs. This is a 27.1 mile loop. One thing that we've noticed just in the few minutes we've been here is, well, first of all, let's tell you this. If you get on all trails and are going to use the All Trails app for directions, don't. There is a road that is completely washed out. They're under construction on it right now. You can probably hear the trucks backing up. So not sure when that's going to be reopened. However, you can't get through it. So I actually bought a guide to this path. And it has a topographical map that went with it. The map's waterproof. It was like 13 bucks. Lucky we bought it because in the book it actually had a second way to get into Maston, which is the ghost town, which is the most popular trailhead. So that's what we did, and we figured it out. It was certainly a scenic route all the way through a wildlife area. What was it called? McIntyre Wildlife Area. And but we got here, and here we are. So just a few things we want to show you before we head out on the trail. This is an old ghost town, but it was, what was here, Johnny? The conservation? Civilian conservation back in the 30s. So you got this fireplace. But this is the trailhead, and it's nice. There's picnic tables. There is some area for you to do some cooking. I believe there's a campsite over there. So it's pretty nice. So we're gonna strap them on. It is almost 1:00 p.m. We were kind of ambitious before we left the house, and we thought we would try to go 11 miles. But because of the way we had to reroute and get here, we're running about an hour to an hour and a half late. So not sure how many miles we're going to get in today, but we're going to strap them on and get started. Stay along for this ride. Clockwise. Now, what we've studied and read basically said if you go clockwise, it's a little more gradual. That's what we decided to do. So the trail is a little overgrown. However, not surprising with all the things that have been going on with the pandemic and everything. Probably hasn't been as many people on this in particular trail anyway. So we've got some downs and certain things we're gonna have to deal with, but for the most part, it's not a big deal. So, all right, stay along for the ride. Now, on most trails, they will show a turn with a two-blaze indication. But on this trail, they're showing a turn with an arrow. So we knew that was the case because we had seen it on some other videos, but we have never seen arrows on any other trail we've ever been on. So if you do the Old Loggers Path, your turn indicators are going to be arrows. So just thought we'd let you know. Stay along for the ride. Well, we're 2.5 miles in. We decided there's Woody. He followed us all the way from the Black Forest Trail. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Just heard a woodpecker. Oh, boy. Anyways, we're 2.5 miles in on the Old Loggers Path in north central Pennsylvania. We got a late start on the trail. We actually left the house on time, which is a little unusual for us. However, we did that right. But then I already told you, then we ended up having to turn around and retrack because the road was washed out. So in saying that, we got on the trail about an hour later than what we had anticipated. So we went ahead and got on the trail, and then we stopped and had something for lunch, but neither one of us had eaten all day and we're hungry. So we're still not sure what we're going to try to do as far as mileage wise today. So far the trail's been really good. I mean, it's switchback, it's a gradual incline. It's basically forestry, a lot of ferns. Like I said before, the trail's a little overgrown, but it's not unpassable, right?
Right.
So you know, it's in that sense, it's not too bad. I, like an idiot, left a piece of my phone mount at the house. So we're going to be holding the camera during filming this trip, but I'm sure we'll make it work. So any highlights for you throughout the beginning of the trip?
Highlights?
Yeah, anything you?
No.
No.
Bugs keep getting in my eyes.
Yeah, I know. You know what, though? I haven't seen the amount of spider webs on this trail as we saw on Black Forest Trail. No. We were on the Black Forest Trail. Johnny was being Zorro. She was taking her trekking pole and holding it out in front of her to get all the cobwebs out of the way. All right, well, we'll check back with you later. Stay along for the ride. Trail here. We just wanted to stop for a second and show you this tree. It grew up, it took a nosedive, started growing down, and then it took a 90-degree angle and started growing back up again. It's a healthy tree. All right, stay along for the ride. Well, we got to our first vista. We're probably real close to about 5 miles in. We're at South Point Vista. What's the name of the shelter? Sprout Point Shelter. It's one of 2 shelters that's on the Old Loggers Path. Here's our vista. You kind of skip through little trees there, and this is the reason why we do this stuff. This is really beautiful. And then that's looking down.
Yeah, some kind of lake. Mountains.
All right, well, we'll check back with you. Stay along for the ride. Okay, we are about 8.38 miles into the day. I told you before we weren't really sure how far we were going to go because we got such a late start. But I think what we're going to do is push forward another 2 miles. And supposedly there's a really big campground there right next to water, which we just camelled up, but we're going to need water for tomorrow. So that's probably what we're going to do. However, we come across this little view. It is really pretty up here. It's been really humid all day, which the temperatures aren't really bad, so it's not horrible. However, standing up here, the breeze is just coming through. It feels phenomenal. Well, there you go. It's beautiful. The weather's actually been almost perfect. It does get, however, a little humid when you're, you know, in the canopy, because it seems like the air doesn't move around in there at all. But I'm moving over here towards Johnny. I'm going to give you one more look at this view. Here it is. There's a little rock edge there you can stand on. All right, stay along for the ride. Well, we're currently down at the river. Johnny was soaking her feet for a few minutes. But we kind of have a dilemma. We're at camp. We haven't set it up yet. But I want to show you something. So this is a water crossing that we knew about. But this water crossing, no matter where you cross it, you're going to get wet. So what we're trying to figure out right now is we have our packs and everything at a campsite. But there's another campsite right across the river or the creek or whatever you want to call it. So we're trying to figure out, do we want to get wet tonight or do we want to get wet in the morning? Well, I guess we've answered the question for you. So we've decided to go ahead and do it tonight. That way, in the morning, we just put on our shoes and go. I mean, we don't have to put on our shoes to walk 20 feet, turn around, and go across the river crossing. So those rocks are really, really slick. I mean, they're smooth and they're slick. Like I told Johnny, just take your time. It looks like she's about got it figured out. And she's across. Stay along for the ride.
Okay. Shoe necklace. Okay. It's not too terribly cold. You're just getting really deep. Woo.
Graceful, I have never been called.
All right, you just about made it. We'll see what happens next.
Well, finally, we're at camp. So we're doing some camp chores right now. Basically, we have the tent set up. Johnny's working on our fire starter. We're trying a new fire starter. That's something good to talk about. So anyway, I'll get back to that in just a second. There's the tent. There's Johnny's chair for the evening. There's the fire ring. Still haven't found a place to put the bear bag yet, but no, it's way too close to camp. No, that one's too close to camp. One over there that might work out. Right there.
One that's angling over the water?
No, right there. Water's that way. Tree would branch that way. So anyways, so what we've done with our fire starter is what we did is we took some lint, we put it in an egg carton, and then we took candle wax and melted it over the lint in the egg carton. So this way we can start the lint and the egg carton, the little ball in the egg carton, everything, and that's how we plan to start a fire. If you remember when we were on the Black Forest Trail, we had soaked lint and alcohol and tried to use that as fire starter. That did not work. So now we are trying something different. And I am absolutely totally against buying fire starter. We ought to be able to figure out how to start a fire. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. We'll probably check in with you one more time before we end day one. Stay along for the ride. Good morning, day 2. So we had a pretty uneventful evening last night. It was pretty muggy when we first got into the tent, but we opened both of our vestibules, and eventually Johnny shut hers. I think it got a little breezy, but it seemed to knock the temp down pretty good. So it was pretty comfortable sleeping type weather. And however, I probably only got about 6 hours sleep. It was good sleep. I mean, I felt refreshed this morning and ready to go. So a couple of things. One thing I want to bring up, and I didn't bring it up yesterday. I completely forgot about it. I didn't forget about it. I wanted to calm down about it, I think. But we were on the trail yesterday, and we went by a trail register. And on this trail, on the Old Loggers Path, the trail registers are in cylinders, plastic, like PVC pipe cylinders, pretty good size, got a cap on them. So I'm always avid about signing the trail register, just cause. So we noticed that on the ground next to the post was the trail register. And of course it was nothing but a ball of because it had gotten all wet. Pencils were laying around. Had some cigarette butts laying there and that kind of stuff. So I thought, well, maybe it got wet, whatever. So I open up the canister and I pull out a plastic Ziploc bag full of somebody's garbage. So I'm not going to get on a big rant on this. However, I am going to say that we love these trails and we enjoy these trails, and we do the best we can to practice leave no trace. We pack out everything we pack in, and generally end up packing out a little more, something we catch on the trail. But that was pretty disappointing to see that. So, my only comment to that, and then I move on, is just don't. There's no reason for it. I mean, that garbage didn't weigh 2 ounces. It's not like it's weighing you down or whatever. So if you pack it in, pack it out, and just try to, keep the trail, clean for everybody else to enjoy it. So, and this in particular trail here, they're running natural gas lines through this area. It's been going on. Well, the book I have was written in 2014, and he was talking in the book about how they were starting to bring the gas, drill for natural gas. So, you never know how long these trails are going to be around, especially if it's prominent for natural gas and something like that. So just respect them. Make sure you take pictures, and that type of thing. But, so that's what I have to say about that. Anyway, today, the goal is, I re-looked at it this morning. I think last night we talked about it. We thought it was about 10 miles. I think it's probably a little closer to 11, which is fine. I mean, that's good. It brings us into another campsite like this that's next to water. So we have a good water source. It's supposed to be a pretty good sized campsite. One thing I'll mention, I was thinking about it this morning. I was looking around camp. So you'll remember that we showed you yesterday the river crossing, and we went ahead and did that last night. We didn't have to do it this morning. However, I was noticing this morning in our campsite, this is a great tent campsite. It probably would not do well for a hammock camper. There's just not enough trees. Well, there's enough trees, but they're not big enough and they're not spaced out enough. However, the campsite that we stopped at first yesterday, before we crossed the river, would have been a perfect hammock campsite. I mean, there's plenty of trees over there, nicely spaced, good sized trees. So that would have been, we are not hammock campers. However, if I was, I would have wanted to stay over there. Had I come all the way over here and seen this, I probably would have been mad at myself. So anyway, just FYI, if you're going clockwise, before you crossed, I believe it's called Pleasant Valley Creek, before you cross that, if you're a hammock camper, you want to stay on that side. So anyway, so this, so where we want to go into camp is kind of nice because we again have the option. There's campsites on both sides of the water source. So you know, if for some reason we get there, one's taken, you know, there's other options. So anyway, it should be about 11 miles. We are expecting some thunderstorms today, so we are somewhat prepared for that. We do have our rain gear and rain flies for the packs and that type of stuff. However, right now I'm looking up and it's blue sky, so, but you never know out here, you know, they can roll in and roll out pretty quick. We do have a pretty good climb today. However, rereading my book, there is a couple steep areas. For the most part, this climb looks pretty gradual. I know there are some steep areas, but they don't seem to be very extensive as far as, you know, mileage wise or length. They seem to be pretty short, you know, kind of steep ups, and then you know, gradually go back up. So anyway, so we have a vista about 5 miles in today, so that'll be a nice thing to look at. Rock Run, which is a drainage creek on the old loggers path. Supposed to be one of the prettiest creeks in the state of Pennsylvania. We're going to be crossing that today, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's supposed to have some waterfalls. The water is really low, so we're not 100% sure we're going to see waterfalls, but you know, we can be hopeful. So, well, we're going to start getting around here. I'm having my coffee and just gonna, I already did some camp police. I got our utensils cleaned up from last night and got the bear bag down, bear bag system down, and got everything around the campfire all cleaned up and that type of thing. So now it's just a matter of getting the tent down and getting everything packed up. So I'd like to be on the trail between 9:30 10 o'clock. It's currently right around 8. So that gives us a little time if we want to have some breakfast, or if we wait and eat breakfast later. So anyway, that's about all I got. We're looking forward to the day, so stay along for the ride. Got to walking around just a little bit. We're getting ready to leave. We're about all packed up, but I just wanted to show you guys something. And I come across that we never saw this last night, but this is a campsite. Somebody has put this up so you can have kind of a little lean-to, keep you out of the weather, I suppose. Nice campsite here, and it's right on a water source. However, you have to go down the hill, but not a big deal. All right, well, we're about ready to hit the trail. It's 9:20 a.m., so we're, believe it or not, a little ahead of schedule. And we're just checking out the campsite, doing our last police on it, making sure that everything's the way it's supposed to be. There's Johnny, she's ready for the day. She's got her water with her electrolytes so she can stay hydrated. The packs are packed up, ready to go. You notice that the campsite has been left as found. Everything's cleaned up. So we are headed on the trail. Stay along for the ride. Descent. We've been on trail for about 45 minutes. We're getting ready to make a water crossing. But this descent is pretty steep. Of course, every time we try to do grades on video, you really can't see the grade. So we decided to let Johnny go down and me film it so you could kind of see, you know, how steep the grade is. And there she is. She's at the bottom. Stay along for the ride. So it's about 11:30 a.m., 11:35 on day 2. And we are not at the vista quite yet, almost. However, as you come up here on Mount Sullivan, there's a big outcropping of rock. Now, I'm not sure what type of, I am not a rock expert. However, you don't have to be a rock expert to see how pretty they are. So here's the outcropping of the rock. You can see we're right at tree line. So, and we are going to sit right there where it's shady and have some lunch. You got some pretty flowers here. Johnny, do you know what kind of flowers they are?
It's mountain laurel, I believe.
Johnny says she thinks it's mountain laurel, and I would agree with her. So, all right, stay along for the ride. Change of plans. We didn't realize how close we were actually to the vista. So we left the rock cropping, and we didn't walk half a mile. Did we walk that long?
No.
Probably 3/10 of a mile, 4/10 of a mile, and got this vista, which happens to have a campsite here. So that works out for us because we can sit there and have lunch, come up here and eat it, enjoy the vista. So let me just show you. Here's the vista on the top of Mount Sullivan on the old Loggers Path in north central Pennsylvania. If you look right there, you can see where the sun is coming out of the clouds. It's kind of cloudy right now, but then if you look just right there, you can see the sun patch. It's kind of cool, actually. All right, well, we're going to have some lunch, and we'll talk to you soon. Stay along for the ride. All right, guys. All right, we think we're at mile 7. We, again, are having the same issue as we always have. We both carry an iPhone 10, and neither one of them can ever agree on mileage, and we're walking right next to each other. So I don't get it. But anyways, but I just wanted to share with you, this is the second shelter on the old Loggers Path. Johnny's sitting there taking a little break. We're not going to stay here long. We want to press on. But it's got a shelter there. It's got fire pit. It's got some, looks like logs are using for seats. And so looks like it's not a bad area. Over there are some areas you could put your tent. The only problem that I see with it is that it's maybe 10 feet off the trail. So if you were going to put a tent in here, you'd almost have to put it on the trail or very close to it. All right, we're about 8 miles in for the day, maybe a little over 8. But anyway, we just come across this vista, and I just wanted to share it with you. This vista overlooks the McIntyre Wildlife Area. And then down at the bottom of the gorge is Rock Run Creek. And it's supposed to be one of the prettiest creeks. And we're going to be staying right next to it tonight at camp. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Stay along for the ride. Guys, we're at camp. This is what we're looking at. My goodness, this is amazing. This is, you guys heard when we first started this trip, that I knew there was some special stuff on this trail. And when we did our podcast last week, I said the same thing. Man, this is just amazing. Now the water is down, which enables us to get these shots. If the water was up, we probably wouldn't be able to get these. It goes in here, and this water is crystal clear. And I believe I'm going to take me a little dip right into there. My goodness, this is awesome. There's more to come. I just got to walk over there, but I'll bring you some more footage. All right, you guys, here's some more. This is where yellow dog run meets rock run. The rock formations are just amazing. They're really cool. Man, this is all I could see on this trail. It was worth 27 miles. Oh my lands. It is supposed to rain tonight, and it was sprinkling on us a little bit. So we wanted to get out and get as much footage as we could, because if it rains a pretty good little bit, we're probably not going to be able to be standing where we are right now. So, all right, stay along for the ride. All right, well, it's been an exciting day. It's been a really good day, actually. It was a little monotonous there for a little while because we were going down kind of an old logging trail, and there wasn't, I mean, not that there wasn't scenery, because, I mean, we're in the woods, so it's always interesting. But it just was a little monotonous. So we started coming down the last mile and a half to camp. We saw some cool things. One, we saw a really nice looking doe. And she was real red in color. She was really pretty, and I got some pictures, and I'll share that on our YouTube video. But and she stood there long enough for me to get a nice, you know, a couple of nice real shots, or a couple of really nice shots here. Again, I can't talk. Then we saw some waterfalls coming down the trail that we can't get to necessarily. However, I think if we came back just to go see those, we could probably bushwhack us a place, you know, a way to go down there. But the waterfalls we saw once we got down to camp were amazing. So, and you guys will get a chance to see those, of course. But so we did a total of 10.7 miles today, which leaves us what we're estimating is about 6 miles out. 6.5. I think that number is going to change, but I think we only have about 5.8 miles to get out because there was a reroute here. So, and that's one thing I want to talk to you about. So when we left camp this morning, what we did know, because when we got to the trailhead, there was a sign that was talking about a reroute. The sign didn't make a ton of sense because of just the way they worded it. But anyway, this morning, as soon as we got on trail, what we didn't know until we got to the top of a pretty steep climb, it wasn't very long, so it wasn't a big deal. But when we got to the top of a pretty steep climb, and we went over our first pipe crossing, because again, I've told you they're drilling for natural gas here, then we realized we were on a reroute, because we should have gone across the bridge and then up to the pipe crossing, which we never did. And when you cross the bridge, there's actually a car camping site there. And one thing to know too, just this is all FYI. I have no idea if you'll ever do this trail or not, but if you do, I know Johnny and I have looked at, and we'll give a shout out to Syntax 77, to Adventures in Back Camping, Dan, because we've watched their videos, and you know, the fact that they did these is why we're doing them, because we thought they were pretty cool. So we really enjoyed those guys, and they do a great job. And Dan does some great gear reviews. Syntax keeps his weight down. I mean, these guys are just really good to watch. So if you get a chance to see those guys, please do get on there and look at them, because that's how we've decided to do a lot of our trails. But anyways, so there's that car park camping there. But we knew a little bit about the bridge being out because Syntax 77 did this trail earlier this year, and he had that reroute. So we knew it was going to be there, but we weren't really sure where it was. And by reading that sign at Trailhead, it was really confusing. So it wasn't a big deal. However, it's going to screw our numbers up a little bit. So All Trails has it at 27.1. PA Hikes has it at 27.8. However, PA Hikes was published in 2014. So I think All Trails has the reroute on their map, which we always download the map and just have it as a backup for our GPS, which, is probably not a bad call. It has saved our butt a couple of times, I will tell you that. So anyway, so that is that's kind of where we're at. So I think it's 5.8. Johnny thinks it's 6.5. We're going to find out. We have to do it. So, but this spot that we have here is just amazing, and we have thoroughly enjoyed this trail. We have a little bit out, but it's been a lot of fun. So now I'm going to reach a topic that really doesn't have anything to do with the general audience, but I know my kids are going to be watching this, and I have to say this because they're going to laugh at me. I always get on both of my kids about wearing their hat backwards. So if you've seen video this time, you've noticed that I've had my hat on backwards. Not a big fan of that. However, the way this hat is built, if I turn it backwards, it keeps the sweat completely off my glasses and out of my eyes. So when I'm in the canopy where the humidity is really bad, I turn the hat around. Sometimes I forget to turn it back, like the river crossing, whatever. But I'm going to catch a bunch of crap because I have my hat on backwards. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I don't normally wear my hat backwards. But in this in particular case, it was hot, and I wanted to keep the sweat out of my eyes. So we've had a lot of fun bringing this to you. I hope you'll stay along for the ride for the end of it, and please have a good night. All right, back again last night. Just update. I forgot to tell you guys this earlier. So on the Black Forest Trail, and we talked about this before, we took some lint, we soaked it in alcohol. We're going to use that as fire starter. It did not work. So this time, I told you guys last night, we used the egg cartons, the lint, and the candle wax on top of the lint. And let me tell you, it's amazing. It started this fire right up, not a problem. Put some small stuff on there, got her started. It's been burning now for about 30 to 45 minutes. So that stuff as fire starter does work. So we're happy to know that. Stay along for the ride. Good morning, everyone. We are at day three. So we knew yesterday, because Johnny had looked up the weather before we left, that we had a chance of thunderstorms, which we did not get any yesterday. It was actually a pretty nice day. But we had run into a guy yesterday, probably about 2 miles from camp, from where we're at now, who informed us that they had pushed back the thunderstorms for last evening. So we got dinner made and sat at the campfire, and everything was fine. So we went in the tent and actually listened to an audio book for a little bit. I had my vestibule open because it allows air to flow through there, and it was a little muggy. So I started hearing a few sprinkles, and I shut the vestibule, and about 20 minutes later, the skies opened up. So Johnny and I both looked at each other and said, "It's raining." I really don't know how long it rained because we both fell asleep. This is the second time that we've used our Mirror 3-season tent, 2-man tent, in the rain, and it worked extremely well. No leaks, dry as a bone. We were really happy with this tent. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't expensive. I mean, it wasn't a $600 tent. And one of these days I'll do a gear review with you guys. But It was very reasonable, and it's done really well. The tent only weighs just a little over 3 pounds, but I'm just impressed with how well it's made, and it's really durable. I mean, it's real nice. It is only a 2-man tent, but we can both get in there comfortably, put both of our sleeping pads in there comfortably, and we can put both of our packs inside without too much of an issue. So anyway, it worked out really well. It did get a little chilly. About 4 o'clock this morning, I was shivering, so I had to get up and put my long sleeve on and put a pair of socks on and that kind of thing. And it was a little chilly. The wind was kind of just blowing the right way, and it got a little chilly. However, woke up this morning, come out and make some coffee, and it's sunshining. So I don't think we're going to ask for better weather for this trip. I mean, it could rain all night for all I care. I'm not hiking, but when you're out on the trail, it's nice to see sunshine. So looks like we're going to have plenty of it. Skies are blue, and it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous day. It's kind of cool this morning, so that's kind of nice. It's not near as humid, so that's good. Little recap of yesterday. Boy, we are so excited about what we've seen. I mean, this is just beautiful. I mean, we are so glad we did this trip. I knew there was going to be something special on this trip, and I'm just glad we found it. I mean, the vistas are beautiful too, don't get me wrong. But when you get down here to Rock Run, this is just something everybody needs to see, even if you just do a day hike. I think the day hike would be a 4-mile round trip, 2 mile one way, 2 mile the other, obviously. You can certainly access it from a road. There is a off-road parking up there. You can put about 4 to 6 cars. So even if you just did this as a day trip, you don't have to do the whole path. But even if you just did this for a day trip, it's certainly worth the day trip. It's downhill all the way in, and of course uphill all the way out. It's a gradual grade. It's nothing real steep. It does get a little muddy, I'll give you that, but you can work around it. It's very doable. And I would say, that in and out is for anybody. I mean, experienced, inexperienced, kids, you could do it. It's not a big deal, and it's worth it. So today we are headed out, which I'm a little sad about that, because not that I like this COVID or coronavirus. However, I haven't been to work since March 18th, so it's allowed us to really be able to get on the trail. And it's kind of kept our mind off of everything. So it's been a blessing, but anyways, this will probably be the last long hike we do for a while. We'll do plenty of day hikes, keep our legs on, that kind of stuff, but maybe even an overnighter here or there. We do want to plan the West Rim Trail for sometime this summer. It's going to get, our August is no way. It's going to get really busy, but we might be able to pull it off the middle to end part of September. So we're looking to put that one underneath our belts, and then that would give us kind of the 3 big ones in this area, which is Black Forest, Old Loggers Path, and then West Rim Trail, which is the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. So that'd be a pretty good accomplishment for a summertime, with us both working and everything. So anyways, but we're going out today, and I go back to work this week, so at the end of the week. So, kind of bittersweet, but it's been a lot of fun doing it. But anyways, we expect a couple of steep climbs, but not long in length again. We're going to be going up a loggers grade, so we are going to be going up, but those loggers grades are pretty nice. I mean, it's a gradual up. It's not a real big deal. We do have one sharp area right before we get to the vista, or one steep area, I'm sorry. But it doesn't look like it's long in length by any means. So, and then other than that, it's pretty much downhill all the way out. So, again, I think we have about 5.8 miles. Johnny thinks we have 6.5. I mean, we're gonna see, but we're gonna do it no matter what. So, I just think that the book we bought, I think we told you this, says 27.8. All Trails says 27.1. And I think the reason is because of the reroutes. However, even since it seems like All Trail has been up to date on the reroutes, I still think we have another small reroute that might affect our miles. So then that could be to the good or to the bad. It just depends on how they did the reroute. So, however, I will tell you this: they, even though there are reroutes up here, they have done an amazing job of blazing it, getting rid of the old blazes so you don't get confused. So it's been good for the most part, other than a few things I mentioned yesterday morning. The trail's been extremely clean. There is some mud spots. And if we just stay out of them so they dry, but the rain last night is not going to help those mud spots. So we know we got some mud coming up, but it's easy enough to navigate. They're aggravating because you kind of get in a stride and then all of a sudden stop, there's mud. So, but other than that, it's not a big deal. So anyway, I'm having my coffee right now. Johnny's starting to get around, so I got the bear bag system down, got it put away already, got the campfire area all policed up, which is generally what I do the first thing in the morning anyway. So really all we got to do is get ourselves together, get the tent down and pack it up. We are going to have to do some tent policing when we get home because the rain flies wet. So there's no way it's going to dry before we pack it up. So I'll have to get it out when we get home and dry it off so we don't get any mildew or anything like that. But all in all, it's been a great trip. So we're going to check in with you today. Probably take a couple small videos on the way out to kind of say goodbye to Rock Run. It's just a great area here. And then we'll, of course, get with you at the Vista and then we'll wrap it up. So just stay along for the ride. Well, we're about packed up, ready to go. We should be on the trail by 10 o'clock. We got the campsite policed, got the tent and everything down. The packs are ready to go. Johnny's eating her breakfast muffin as usual. And we're going to hit the trail. Stay along for the ride. All right, everybody. We made it. We clocked 5.6 miles today, which gives us a total of 27.3. So All Trails says 27.1. The PA Hikes Handbook says 27.8. So with that reroute, we probably lost a few miles from the PA, or not a few miles. We lost a little bit from the PA Hikes book. However, we gained a little bit from the All Trail. So pretty close. I mean, 27.3, you can't complain about that. So we hadn't had anything to eat. We were going to stop, and then we didn't. The trail was pretty thin. It wasn't a hard trail. We had a couple of real short ascends, nothing major. Basically walking on a logger's grade all day. So, however, we got it completed, and we're going to have some lunch here, and then, load everything up and head to the home front for a shower and an adult beverage. So, hey, thanks for staying with us on the ride, and we'll see you next time.